If you want to create a comment system for your website like we have here on YouTube, stay with me. So now I'm here at my PHP store, and the first thing actually that we need to do is let's check how the YouTube comment system is looking like. So as you can see here, we have some basic layout. Here is the video, and from the right side we have some sidebar that we don't need actually. And then down below what we have is the place to add a public comment. When we click there, we are able to write and then hit comment or cancel. Here we also have the number of comments that are already there. And then down below we have the list of all the comments. For each comment we are able to actually hit like, dislike or give a heart. And then also we are able to provide the reply in case that we want. So first let's build this basic layout, and then after that we are going to create a very simple registration and login form so that we can authenticate and know who the user is. And then after that we will create the database and provide the user interface where we are going to store the comments. So let's do it. So first thing, I'm going to Bootstrap website. I will hit download, and then here I'm just going to use Bootstrap CD and links. So I will grab those two. Okay, here I will just say I want basic HTML5. So maybe let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I will move all the JS files down below, and then maybe let's say here YouTube comment system. Okay, now the next thing that we are going to do while I'm here, I will grab the popper because we are going to have some models, and then also I'm going to download from the jQuery website the library for jQuery because we are going to use it for a lot of different things. Okay, so maybe let me quickly. Okay, I always love to format my code properly because it's always easier and faster to write one. Okay, so now the first thing that we are going to do is in the Bootstrap we are going to create the container, and then inside this container we are going to have at least one row, and inside this row we are going to have one column that will actually take the entire space that we have inside the container. And also I'm going to duplicate this row multiple times. So why? First, in the first row I want to have buttons for login, logout and registration. Then I want to have some video, and then down below I want to have a place where I can add, let's say, add new comment. And then down below I want to have the list of all the comments that we currently have. Okay, so maybe let me just close those tabs. If we refresh, we can see how our layout looks like. So let's start with the buttons. So I will create a new button, let's say register, and then okay, maybe first let's specify some options. So I will say class btn, and then let's say primary, and okay, that's enough for now. Later we will do some other things, and maybe here let's say I will align everything to the right. And for the container I will set, let's say, margin top to 50 pixels, for example. So if we check, okay, looks good. Now we of course need to change this. Now for the video, let's say I will just grab this one, just so we actually get the feeling of how it looks like on YouTube. So let's say like this, and then I will just align everything to the center. Now for the place to add a new comment, we will just need one text area. Okay, this is not important, so maybe here I will just say class will be form control, and then maybe we can have one placeholder like add public comment. Okay, now let's see how it all looks like. Okay, not bad, just this place is way too big. And then also it will be amazing if we have some maybe paddings here. So let's say here I will say that margin top, let's say 20 pixels, and margin bottom also 20 pixels. And then maybe this is, let's say 2, we don't need nothing big. Okay, this looks so much better. Now here, of course, we will need again to have some button. So let's say button, let's say btn primary and also btn, and maybe let's say add comment. Okay, this should look good. Yep, maybe just we can say style front right. Okay, so pretty much this looks solid. Okay, and now we need to design how our comment section is going to look like. So maybe let's say like this, we will have one div that will be, let's say, user comments. Okay, and then inside this user comments we are going to have different comments. So let's say every comment will have its user, and inside this user we are going to have, let's say, span that says time, which means when this comment is published. And then down below we are going to have also like, let's say, user comment, and below this we are going to have maybe replies. Okay, so how it looks like, let's say this will be Sinead's person. So let's say here we will set the date. So at the moment we are just doing a design, so let's say 16 or 15, I'm sure. User comment, like this is my comment, and then in the replies we will have different replies, but let's first check this. Okay, so this is not bad. Let's apply some styling. So let's say here I will have, okay, some type, okay, and maybe we can say that every user, let's say we'll say font weight will be bold, and let's say color will be black. Okay, now for the time we can say that, let's say, just color will be, let's say, gray, just so there is a difference. Then let's say user comment, we will just say it's, okay, it's black. And then let's say that all the replies will have margin left, let's say 20 pixels. So let's check this. Okay, so this looks good. I should close this and this and this. Okay, let's now check for the replies. We can again inside the replies have comments. Okay, but what we can do is, let's say that it will look like this, so we can just duplicate multiple times, and now this is how it looks like. Maybe what we can do is say that each reply will have margin top 20 pixels also. Okay, or maybe it will be better if we say that replies dot comment will have margin top 20 pixels. Okay, so now this looks much better. And then down below, if we have a new comment without any replies, okay, so it's here. So I will just duplicate this just so you can see how it looks like. Let's say like this. Okay, so this is not bad. You can see now this is the main comment, and then we have all the replies. Then again we have a new comment and its own replies, which is good. Okay, now of course we are going to do this dynamically. We are now at this stage just building the layout to make sure how it's going to look like. So we can make actually something very simple. And let's say here, last thing is we can say like 335 comments. Okay, this needs to be bold. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty much like YouTube. So there's like, okay. Now once we have the basic layout, the next thing that we need to do before someone is able to publish some comment is that we will require from them to actually first log in, and or if they don't have an account already, they will need to register, right? So in order to do that, first I'm going to build some models where they can register and log in. So let's say here, we can do it here. We are going to say we'll have one model. It's going to be a model dialog. Okay, and then each model dialog have its own model content. And in the content we have model header and then body and footer. I will do it like this. Okay, so this is the basic. So maybe we'll specify for this one, let's say login model, and then I will just duplicate. Or maybe let's first build the registration and then we will add the login. Okay, so in the header we can say, okay, there will be some model title, and let's say it's going to be registration form. Now of course over the registration and login form I will just go over quickly so you can see how it looks like, so you have final code. But if you want really in-depth tutorials, there's so many on my YouTube channel, like just go and check those out. Or even if you are looking like to get in-depth like web development course where you are actually able to learn everything that you will need to know to quickly and easily become a great badass web developer, you can find a link in the description of this video and grab my course. Okay, of course. Okay, so in the body we are going to have one input type text, of course. No, let's say, yeah, okay, so let's say ID username, and that's it. Let's say placeholder your name, and then we will have your email, and let's say password. Okay, so this will be user email, user password. Okay, this type will be email. Okay, and this one will be password. Okay, cool. In the footer we are going to have two buttons. So let's say button, this one will be close, and then another one will be register. But first let's say let's set up some classes. So let's say data dismiss will be model. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, before that we need to set on this button that we actually target this model. So we'll say data toggle, let's say model, and data target, it's register model. Okay, so let's see this, how it works. So I'll hit register and it's here. On login nothing happens, which is okay. So I believe we have forgot to say here that this is going to be form control. Cool. And then also here we are going to create one button. So let's say primary, and we will say register. Cool. Let's see. Boom. Now this looks pretty solid. We have very simple registration form where we ask for the name, email, and password, and then we have option to register or close, which is good. What we can do maybe is to do something like registration model, and then later we will have login model. We'll say that input, and again here input will have, let's say, margin top 10 pixels, so it looks like a little bit better. Yeah, so this is pretty solid. Now let's build some functionality to this. So first we need to attach some listener to this button, so when someone click here, we will through the Ajax send all details through the server, and then on the server we are going to accept those information and store quickly in the database. Okay, so here this is the button. So let's say this will be ID register btn. Okay, and now here we are going to write some script. Okay, of course, type text and JavaScript. Okay, so here I'll say, okay, on document ready. Okay, we will set on the register btn, we will say on click, we will have one function, which means that we are going to grab information from here, verify and send. Okay, so what we can do is, let's say, we will say that we have like name, which is user name. Okay, then we have email and password. So let's say user email, user password. Okay, and then here we can say f name, okay, and email. So yeah, and password. Okay, in that case, okay, else we'll say please check your inputs. Okay, so if we test that, register, it says please check your inputs. Okay, check your inputs. Now there isn't anything. Now of course we can do a lot of additional verifications and do it on different and better way. And if you are looking for that, I have again great in-depth video tutorials that you can watch, but for this tutorial this will be pretty much enough. Okay, so now we are going to send all the details to the server through Ajax. So first I will say that our URL will be index.php. The method how we are going to send data will be post, and then we are going to have like data type, what server will return is JSON, and then data that we are sending to the server is, let's say, register1, which is just a flag so that in the PHP I know that we are actually going to register the person. Okay, then we have name, we have email, and then we have password. Okay, cool. So basically here, this is what you are going to expect on PHP side, and this is what we are actually sending. So this here and this can be different, just you need to pay attention that you are actually doing it correctly on PHP side. Okay, and then let's say on success we are going to check what has happened. So at the moment, let's say we will just print to the console. Okay, now let's accept all those informations inside PHP. Okay, so I will go here and say sorry, I have new keyboard, so I have some problems to get used to it still. Okay, so let's say here if isset post register, it's all good, and we are going to accept all the information. Okay, so at the moment I'm not doing real escape string or anything, because first we will need to create the necessary database. Okay, I will show that in a moment. Okay, and for now I will just say here success. Now our Ajax expect JSON, so I'll just say text for now, and that's it. Okay, so if we check everything right now, let's say we will open okay, what's this? So this is nothing related to us. Okay, cool. Now when we register and hit this, say please check your inputs. Okay, at live.com, whatever, password, register. Okay, server return success. In the network we can see that to the index PHP we have sent register, name, email and password. This is what server returned, so this part works and looks really good. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do is to actually go and create our database and store and create a new user there. Okay, so I'm going to create new database. So I'll say here let's say YouTube command system. I will use UTF Unikey. So we will actually here need 3 tables: users, comments and replies at least. So first I'm going to create users table. So here we'll have ID integer, auto increment, then we'll have name, that will be varchar, let's say 50. We will have email, let's say again 50, and then we are going to have password. Now we are going to here use encryption, of course, so we will use bcrypt, which is 60 characters, but just to make sure that in the future it's not changed because of the different versions of PHP, so I'll just say 255. That's something that you always need to be aware of. And let's say created on, okay, what did happen? Okay, my mistake. Okay, created on, and this will be date time. Okay, now there isn't length. Okay, so now once we have created the table, the next thing that we need to do is to create a connection. Okay, so maybe I can do it here because we'll need later too. So let's say we will use MySQL. Sorry. Okay, so my host is localhost, my username is root, my password is empty, and database name is YouTube comment system, if I'm not wrong. Okay, now please ignore this host semicolon, sorry, host column, because this doesn't exist. Okay, so if I copy this and let's say paste here, you can see how it looks like. So I know always there are comments that they can get it working, so this is just feature from PHP Storm, so please ignore it. Okay, so now we need to real escape this to make sure it's all good. Okay, real. Okay, sanitize always your inputs. Cool. Okay, and now first let's verify that the person with this email, or maybe let's say if filter var, and let's say email, and here we'll say filter validate email. Okay, so only in that case. Okay, else exit failed, let's say failed email. Okay, so we want to make sure that our email is correct. Now let's say how many rows do we have in the database. So query, so I'll say select ID from users where email equal email. Okay, and then we'll say if SQL number of rows bigger than 0, that means that user exists. Okay, so we'll say exit you failed user exists, so that we know what is the issue. Else we are going to add the person, so we will say just connection query insert into users, and then we have name, email, password, created on, say values. Okay, so first we will need to encrypt the user password, so say we will use function password hash, and we are going to use password, and we will use bcrypt. Okay, now we are going to store, so first one is name, then we have email, then we have encrypted password, and date time is now. Okay, and that's it. So let's see what is going to happen. Now I'll hit F12 again. I want to check my console, so I'll hit register. I'll say, let's say like this, register, and it says failed email, which means that our email is not valid. Then I'll put valid email, I'll hit register. It's a success, that means we have been registered. Okay, now the person exists here, password is encrypted, all the data is here, amazing. Now let's try to register again. Okay, now it says failed user exists, which is again amazing. It means that we don't have any issue in the code, everything is working properly, and we are ready to leave this as is. Okay, cool. Now let's first handle all those situations that we have. So let's say here if response equal failed email, we will say alert, please insert valid email address. Okay, then we'll say else if response equal failed user exists, alert user with this. Okay, maybe let's say user with this email already exists. And then else, what we can do is to maybe just refresh the page, so we can say window.location equal window.location. Now why this is important? Well, it's not at the moment, but let's now create some functionality. So let's say at first they will see both options, but if person exists, so let's say here we'll say session start. Okay, and then let's say that in the session we are going to store some variables so that we know if the person is logged in or not. So let's say logged in equal false, but we'll say if is set session, and then let's say logged in and is set session name. Okay, we'll say okay logged in equal true. Okay, now we will say here that okay where it is, so can't find. Okay, here, so say that this button will be visible only, okay, I mean entire row will be visible only if person is not logged in. Again, new keyword issue. Okay, so we'll say here if not logged in, echo this. Okay, and then also when person is registered, let's log him inside. So we'll say that session logged in will be set to 1. Session name, that's the only data that we will need, is the name. Maybe we can set also session user email. Okay, email, and then later we also will need user ID. Okay, so how we are going to get? Well, at the moment we don't have it because we have just inserted, so maybe let's get it. So how we can do it, we will say SQL is equal connection query, and let's say select ID from users, order by ID task, limit 1. So what does it mean? It means that we are getting the ID from users and we are sorting by ID descending and limiting only one, which means that we are going only to get the ID from the last. So let's say data is SQL fetch associative array. Okay, and then here we can say, okay, we have session, let's say user ID is data ID. Cool. Okay, so let's test now this. Okay, let's say this will be Sinead, and the email will be, let's say, sinead@live.com. Password, let's say test123. Register. Okay, the issue is okay, but now as you can see here at the top we don't have any more the buttons login and register, but also we don't have an option to log out. So maybe we will say that here, else we will echo, and there will be some button. So maybe if that is the case, we'll leave this as S. Okay, here, and then here we're going to say, okay, button, let's say class btn, let's say warning. Okay, and then we will say log out. Now of course this is not going to work at the moment, but it will work. We will implement it later. Okay, now we have the button log out. Okay, cool. Maybe we can quickly write logout functionality. It's super simple. Okay, maybe it will be easier for you guys to understand if this is A, and then we'll just say here logout.php. Okay, and then we'll create a new PHP file. Let's say like this. Okay, we will say here session start, and then we will say unset session logged in. Okay, we will say session destroy, and then we will just redirect back to the index PHP. Okay, it's super simple to create logout file. Okay, refresh. Now when we hit logout, we have been redirected, and now as you can see, we are able to actually see register and login buttons. Okay, now the next thing that we need to implement, now once we have like registration finished and basic layout, now let's implement login, and pretty much we have set up all the foundation that we need to have, and then we are ready to start finally adding comments, right? Okay, now for the login, so maybe I'll just increase this in case that you didn't see. Okay, for the login, we are again going to need one model, so I'm going just to duplicate this. I will say this is login model. Let's say this is login form. Here we are going to just need email and password. So let's say user L email, user L password, which means login. Here we are going to have login btn. Cool. Now this is quick. We will do the same thing, just duplicate this. Okay, this is super fast, copy paste, right? So this is login. Okay, now there isn't this one, but we have user login email and user login password, and we don't need this part, we don't need this part. Okay, login. Cool. Now we will say that we will have only failed and we will only have success, so we can delete this part, which means that we are just going to refresh the page again. I mean, that is the simplest way at the moment, but if you are really looking into more in-depth and advanced solution, I have a bunch of different tutorials on my YouTube channel. So we'll say here, please check your login details. Right. Okay, what's that? Okay. And then here, I'm going again to duplicate this because we are going to create the same thing. Okay, we expect login. We have email and password. So if it's filter, okay, this will be failed. And then here, what we need to do is we'll say, okay, select ID, not email but password, hash from users where email equal email. And here we'll say if equals 0, we'll say again failed. Else we actually need to do a little bit different things here. So I'll say okay, if it's 0, that means that the user is not found with this email. Okay, that's failed. Now we are going to grab the information and we'll say okay, we have password, okay, here. And now what we are going to do is we will say okay, if password verify, so we need to use the password. And so okay, my bad, we'll say here password hash, which is this one. Okay, so we say if password verify. In this one we know that we have the person with this email, and then in this one we know that the password is correct, and then we are just going to create a session and return access success. Otherwise we are going, we'll say okay, failed. But here we are missing the email, so I will grab it from our table and I will say here okay, it will be data name. So let's see, I will hit refresh, I will hit login, and nothing happens. Cool. Let's see why. Because of here we need to say data toggle, okay, model, and then we need to say data target. Okay, hashtag, what is the name? It's login model. Okay, cool. Let's see now. Login, okay, it's here. Now we need to say okay, snade@live.com, test 1 2 3. Okay, now those are the correct details, but let's test fake. So let's say first wrong email. It says please check your login details. Cool. Now let's have a great email, but let's have wrong password. Again, it says please check your login details. Now let's have everything correct. Cool. That means that we have been logged out, and as you can see now there is log out button, which means that finally we did everything correctly. Now we have basic layout, we have registration, we have login form, we have even log out. Okay, and finally we can start adding comments. Yay. Okay, now before we implement that functionality, first we need to create a table where we are going to store all comments. So I'll go here, say new, it will be name and comments, ID, auto increment. Okay, so we are going to have a user ID, integer, cool, and then we are going to have comment, which will be, let's say, text. I don't think so that anyone will have longer comment, but if you want to make sure, you can set long text, whatever. Okay, my same mistake again, I hit enter. Okay, structure, don't make those mistakes like me. Okay, date time, created on, all this. Okay, and then before we continue, I want to go to relationship view, and I want to say, okay, I will leave this empty. I want to say that we want to on delete and update cascade. User ID we will grab from database table ID. Okay, so what this means, that when we create foraging key like this, that means that in case that user is deleted from this table for whatever reason, we are also going to delete all his comments, because there isn't any point of not having the user but having all his comments. Okay, cool. Now once we have that, let's implement the functionality. So on this button add comment, let's specify some, attach some event. So where it is, it's here. So we will say, okay, ID will be and comment, cool, and then this one will be common, let's say main comment. Okay, or yeah, main comment. Okay, so what we can do is we can just simply duplicate this. Like always, guys, whenever you can, use the same code, don't spend so much time. So say, okay, add comment on click. We don't need any of those. And for here I'll say, okay, it will be comment, and this will be main comment dot all, and then I will say if comment is different than empty, or even let's say dot length bigger than, let's say 5 characters at least, we'll say, okay, add comment, and here we will have some comment. Okay, and for now we will just display to the console log. We'll say, okay, it will be whatever response. Okay, cool. Now let's inside PHP accept. So we will say, I will duplicate those two things. Okay, so this will be comment, and then this here will be add comment, cool. And then what we are going to do, we will just say like this, okay, connection, query, insert into comments, we need user ID, comment, and created on. Okay, values. Okay, we have 3, this is now. Okay, user ID we have in session, comment we have here. So we will grab this one from the session. So I will say, okay, session user ID. Okay, Okay, if you remember, we are storing one here, and that's it. And then we can say here, okay, exit success. So let's see, refresh. I'll say add comment. It says please check your inputs. I'll write something, hit add comment. Okay, no error. In the console it says success. Let's check the database, browse. Okay, so as you can see now, user with ID number 2 have its comment and it's here. Now when we click here, we should be able to open and see who that person is. Okay, so just a second. Okay, now the next thing that once someone posts, we should do is to, let's say, prepend this comment to this entire list. Okay, so how we are going to do this, I will finish this tutorial right here, and then in the next tutorial, because if I continue here it will take a couple of hours to finish everything, I will create another part 2, and in the part 2 I'm going to show you how to display all the comments, how to add replies, how to show them, how to display some basic statistics, etc, etc, etc. So guys, if you like this video, if you find it useful, please like it and share it to your friends. And of course, if you have any questions or anything, please ask in the comments below and I will be more than happy to answer all of them. Take care.